Hey, what's up, everyone? Okay. Link is in the Discord, so I'll jump back onto the sculpt. Yeah, I hope everyone's having a good morning. I'm just gonna jump back into where I left off last time. I was trying to detail the scales on the feet here. Making sure that there is a good transition between the scales that I kind of stamped on here and the basement scales that are down there. So we'll be doing that probably for first little chunk of the stream. And we'll see what else we get up to. Smogsy, hey, how's it going? Oh yeah, happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I totally that reminds me, I have to wish my little sister a happy birthday, because her birthday is on Valentine's Day. Yeah, I have all my important dates I have written down in my planner, and if I don't look at my planner, which I haven't done this morning yet, kind of forget stuff. So it's a good thing y'all reminded me this morning. Let's see. Will the trope be able to take off from the water? I'm not sure actually. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I can't really speculate either. I never remember dates except for 4: birthday, Christmas, and New Year's, Halloween. Yeah. I really have to write it down, or else I won't remember. I mean, stuff like birthdays. Most of the time I will remember, especially if it's like my close family. But if it's like any outside of that, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta have a reminder, or like yeah, I have specific little notes in my planner for stuff like that. I've been kind of relying on my planner a lot more since the beginning of the year. being a little bit more trying to be a bit more organized as far as like, because most of the time I just like keep track of like my tasks and stuff in my head, like mostly like work related stuff, like the models I have to do, the illustrations I have to do, like certain deadlines for certain clients and stuff like that. I'll keep track of like how I organize that, like what days I work on those things in my head, and it generally works. But I feel like it's probably much better if I organize it in some physical space that I can like lay out and look at, instead of having it be this like ambiguous like idea in my head, you know. So I've been using a kind of planner system, and it's been working out so far. The cool thing about like the planner and stuff is like, I mean, I've always kind of liked to-do lists and stuff like that. But the cool thing about the planner is like you actually have like a record to see like how much you did. It's kind of fun to look back on that stuff, and like it's kind of like I relate it to like a kind of like a sketchbook. Like working digitally, you don't really get a sense of like how much drawing you're doing, because it's all just files like in a folder somewhere, right? When you're working, if you're working with like a sketchbook or even just like loose paper, and you're just drawing and like the paper's like stacking up, or like the sketchbook is getting full, I think it's like a good feeling to like fill up a sketchbook, or like just see like a stack of drawings that you did. Kind of a visual representation of how much work you accomplished. I get the same sort of sense from like checking stuff off in the planner, and it's a bit more like rewarding, I guess. So many dates to remember in your house, yeah. Worst dates to swap each year. The worst is dates that swap each year, like Thanksgiving or Easter. Yeah, I don't even keep track. I let my family keep track of that stuff. I have no idea when Easter happens. Is the mini menace in the office today, or is she sleeping elsewhere? She, that's kind of why I started streaming like a little late today, is because I was trying to get her out of my house. she's in the living room watching some TV with my wife. Yeah, she's always trying to get out of my office, but the minute I want to, like, I want to let her out so she can go terrorize someone else, she doesn't want to leave. Fox, hey, how's it going? What's the computer equivalent? Running out of storage space? You know, I don't know. Maybe. I just don't get that sense of like looking at a bunch of files in my hard drive doesn't really give me the same like sense of accomplishment. It must be something, I don't really know what it is. It must be just something about the physical, like tangible, you know, quality of it. because I do have I have tons and tons of files. Like I was just looking at I was looking at an older hard drive from when I started working as a illustrator, and I was just kind of looking at my older images, and I mean they're cool to look at because I mean some of them I still actually like. Like at the time, I'm very hard on myself. Like when I'm working on something, like I'm mostly only focused on what's wrong with it, to be honest. Like where it needs to improve, and like where I'm not like where I'm not meeting my own expectations for things. So I wouldn't say like I 100%. It's very rare that I like allow myself to like fully enjoy like a final image, you know. There's only been a handful of illustrations or whatever that I finish, and I'm like, yeah, that's, you know, I did a good job on that. Like normally I'm always analyzing it for like what else, or like what I need to work on, or like what I could have done better, all that stuff, like a self-critique. But looking back on those, so that's how I felt about the majority of those images, right, when I was working on them. But looking back on them now, there's actually quite a few that I like. They are old, like they're over like 10 years old at this point. But so if I did them now, there's definitely stuff I could do better, but I think I was being much harsher on myself at the time. I think they were actually pretty good images, you know. I think I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to store those like long term, because I'm afraid that this hard drive, it is going to like I have everything backed up, but the hard drive, that you just always have that worry that the hard drives are like gonna give out or like malfunction. So I need to figure out another way to I was thinking about printing them out and making kind of like an art book, I guess, just for myself to put on the shelf, just as like a way to like have a physical representation of all that stuff. So I might do that. It might be fun. I'd have to find a place to that like does prints like that, or I could bind it myself. I do know how to bookbind. It's been a very long time since I've done it though. Dinosaur, haven't seen a stream in ages. Well, welcome back. You get a really small sketchbook so you fill it out faster. I started a sketchbook this year. It is smaller than I usually go. It's like a 5.5 by 8 or something. It's a moleskin sketchbook. I started filling it up with some stuff, like just like kind of random studies of things that I like am wondering about, like or just stuff that I find fun to draw. I haven't gotten very far yet. It's kind of another habit that I want to make sure I cultivate, is just keeping up with my traditional drawing stuff. is I really like drawing in ballpoint pen. I like markers a lot. They're very easy mediums to like pick up and work with, and then drop when you need to. There's not a lot of setup. It's very easy to travel with those mediums as well, so I can take my sketchbook wherever I want. Yeah, so I think I need to kind of study more. I kind of stopped studying stuff, I think. So the sketchbook, like the way I study is like I sketch stuff out. Like I sketch stuff and I take notes on the sketches, or like on the sides of the sketches and stuff like that. It helps me process. So I feel like I don't really do that too often anymore. I'd like to get back into doing that stuff. I might be able to retain more info that way. Let's see. Do you think dinos shed skin? I can't imagine a long neck doing that, but perhaps some did or something. I actually had that same question. And I was talking to a friend who is more of an expert in that than I am. And I think what he was leaning towards is no. I think there's something about the skin structure that, I mean, it's not that they wouldn't have like dry skin that could flake off, but if you're not going to get the like mass shedding that like a snake or something would, right? So you could have maybe small areas that are damaged or dry that begin to flake. Sort of like, I mean, human skin can do that as well, like if you get a bad sunburn or something. But it wouldn't be quite the same as like, you know, like a monitor lizard shedding its skin or something like that. A friend of mine, his name is Gunter Nicodeme. He did an image of a Tyrannosaurus with shedding skin, and that's kind of what sparked the conversation. Some of you may have seen that image. It was on, kind of did the rounds on social media a little bit ago. But yeah, the conclusion from my paleontology friend there was that it probably is not quite like that. Hey Sharky, how's it going? Lots of scales, yeah, lots of scales here. Yeah, it is the skin, like the shedding skin on a dino is definitely a cool visual. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why Gunther's image like was so popular with everyone, because it is a very it's a cool idea, but I don't think it would necessarily happen in the way that it was rendered. But it is still something valid to like think about when you're reconstructing or like adding like final details to a dino. It's something that I want to explore a little bit more in my like my more not my game models, my more like film prep models that I do for other things, is that sort of skin detail. The more like irregularities help to sell the realism, because in real life things aren't perfect. So if you want something to feel real, you actually need to impart imperfection into it. So, you know, you think of a dinosaur living its life, moving around its environment. It's gonna bump up against stuff. It's gonna scrape itself. It's gonna get into fights with other dinosaurs. You know, its prey is gonna scratch it. It might bump its head on something. You know, it's gonna have all these experiences during its life and some of that is going to reflect on its body. So adding that stuff in really helps. I think a lot of people, I mean, I do it too. It's not like I'm an exception or anything, but a lot of people make like the perfect version of their dino. And they're kind of afraid to bang it up or like make it look kind of, I think imperfection, people think it looks ugly, right? They don't want to make their model look ugly. They spent so much time on it. But I think it really helps make it feel more alive. Oh, you're worried about the detail level. Yeah, fortunately it's just all going to be, all this detail will be on maps, right? It's not going to be like, as long as your PC can handle some textures. I've heard some creatures in games go around 100k polys. Yeah. I'm trying to think. It's probably, those are probably more like set piece creatures, like boss creatures probably. Like I could definitely see like a boss in Elden Ring or something like that, or even yeah, like Monster Hunter getting that high. I do have some Monster Hunter meshes though that I've kind of picked apart, and I can't remember. Like I have a Rathalos, I have a Beototus from World. I have a few models from Monster Hunter, and they're not. They're more reasonable. They're like around 30k. The topology on them is ridiculous though. It's ridiculously optimized, and like the way that they move around all of the like spikes and stuff, because the majority of the spikes that are on those meshes, depending on the monster, like Nergigante's spikes are majority of them are all separate, because they have to like move and grow and break off and stuff. But like for like Rathalos, all that stuff that's on him, like his scales, the back on his back, and it's all integrated into one mesh. I actually don't think Wild's meshes are much higher than Worlds. I don't think they've changed their models that much. They might get up into the 40s. But I feel like you probably could also check those. Like you could, somebody has probably opened them up and like made them available. You could probably open them up in Blender and check them out. They're pretty cool. I've learned a lot from them. As far as like detail level, like how to handle very complex like scale structures in low poly. Raydow's model is awesome, yeah. I think Raydow's model does use separate meshes. Like you see those, like on Raydow, he has these like spines going down the center of his back. I think a lot of those are separate meshes. They're not integrated into his body. That's kind of like when I'm playing games, that's kind of the stuff I think about. Like aside from like actually playing the game, right? Like when there's like downtime, or like I'll kind of watch the models and think about how they're put together. You can learn a lot from that stuff. Another game that I like to look at the models for is Final Fantasy games, because they kind of go, especially with their summons. Their models are crazy. I have a model of Leviathan from Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think. And that model is really cool to look at. I was looking at the way they handled fins. Because I was working on a project that required some fin Some fin madness. That's why I was looking at Beototus from World too, because Beototus has like I wanted to get the fins to tatter, like to kind of have frayed edges. So I was looking at Beototus and how they get that frayed edge when you break his I think you can just break his fin, like his back fin, while you're fighting him. And the solution for that was pretty clever. It wasn't exactly what I thought they were going to do. Yeah, there's that channel on YouTube. I was shocked to see Kratos' topology. Yeah, I've seen a couple of those. I don't really find that channel that interesting because I'm not really super interested in character models. Like I want to see creature stuff. But it is still pretty useful. Maybe he'll do some creatures every now and then. I mean, not that I absolutely hate humans or like doing character design stuff, because I do like it, but if I had to choose between doing character stuff and creature stuff wins every time, I think. There is that gray area though, where like you can have like a humanoid creature. That's why you still have to be good at human anatomy and stuff if you're a creature designer, is because there's always the humanoid, like werewolves and crazy aliens and stuff like that you'll come across. I've done some stuff like that. Like I was doing a redesign of, you guys know what a slee stack is? From Land of the Lost. There's some like, they're kind of alien looking reptilian guys that are they were part of the original show that aired in like, I don't know, it must have been the 60s, 50s, 60s. But there was like a reboot of Land of the Lost in the 90s that I watched, and they actually didn't bring the slee stacks into that show. That show was really cool, actually, if anyone here watched it, because it had some really nice stop motion dinosaur work in there. I think maybe Phil Tippett worked on that. I'd have to check. But it's very cool dinosaur, like very retro dinosaur designs in there. They had a T-Rex named Scarface, and that was really cool. I like his face sculpt. Like I'll pop him up here. He had a lot of character. He was like the main villain guy. to this guy. I like the shape of his face. It's very boxy. That scar on his eye is really cool. But yeah, it had some cool animation in that show. But yeah, they did a movie after that. I think Will Ferrell is in it. I didn't watch the movie. But they brought those Slee Stacks back for that movie. What are plans if someone gets stuck in the mesh or in a hole? Would it be, I'd assume that there would be some sort of unstuck thing, at least in like the early access stuff. Eventually, I think all of those problem areas in like tight spots and meshes would probably need to be ironed out through a lot of testing to make sure that the collisions volumes for all those meshes aren't like creating little holes for people to fall into. But you need a lot of people playing and like roaming around the map and like purposely trying to like get stuck in stuff to like find those. And even at the end of a game, you might still have some of those. But normally in like other early access games, there's usually like a get unstuck button or something. I don't know if they can do that here. There you go. We have an unstuck command in game. Yeah, it's a fairly common problem. I mean, there's games that are final though that you can still find places to get stuck in on accident. And by that time, when they fully release it, they removed that like unstuck command because they don't want people doing little console commands on their game. Because y'all plan on having more complex diet systems for herbies? I'd hate for red mushrooms to be the focal point. Everyone will just be living in the mountains, I'm assuming. That's what she said. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it sounds like a good idea to have varied diets so that people aren't targeting the same thing over and over again. think for the past like 2 or 3 days, all I've been seeing are scales like this. I've been working on scales on multiple projects. One is a painting where I have a lot of scales to finish. And then there's this guy. So between the two of them, it's been a lot of scales. I'm gonna be finishing that painting today though, so I should have one project complete at that point, so I can start on something new. Or just take a little break from scales. Okay, it looks like I have one more toe here to do. And then I have this, I have to blend out a few other areas around here. And then we'll see what else we can get into. There's some wrinkles and stuff down here that I'd like to adjust. Oh, the copper color. The matte cap here, yeah. It's a nice matte cap. I like this one. There's a few matte caps that I really like to sculpt with. This one of my friends gave me. I think it's a really nice one. The bronze look. Majority of the ones that I like are kind of metallic-y because I think they show the details off well while I'm sculpting. Like that's one of my favorites. This grouse one is one of my favorites as well. Oxide is really good. Gray metal is also pretty good. So those are some that I like bounce around between. Matte metal is good too. It's a little bit more low key, I guess. Like it's not as much values range in it. Yeah, it's good to jump from matte cap to matte cap every now and then, so it can kind of refresh your vision. Hey Islander, how's it going? Good to see you. Crookie. Hey, how's it going? Welcome in. Yeah, I like the way that looks much better now that we've done these transition scales on the sides here. It's because it used to look like this area where it just went from large to small really quickly. I think I tend to like more gradual transitions when I do scales. I feel like it looks better. Even though that's not always the way things behave in nature, like sometimes you do actually get very stark transitions between scale sizes. I'm trying to think of a few. There have definitely been examples of like reptiles and maybe some birds that I've seen that have like very distinct transitions between their skin types, like very close to each other. But for the purposes of like this guy, I think this works here. Autosave. I kind of wish the morph target stuff would work on this though, because I could get rid of all this like residual scale detail and then build on top. I think the morph target is what was causing the exploding meshes though. So I don't really want to use it right now. Actually, I don't think I can use it because I think I deleted it. Yeah, there's no morph target there, so it's fine. We'll just draw over everything. Oh, did anyone watch the State of Play? I think that happened this week, right? Sony State of Play. Is there any games that you're excited for from there? I'm trying to think what stood out to me. I think the only thing honestly that stood out to me was they're making they're doing a remaster of Legacy of Kain. Defiance. I think it's the last game in the Legacy of Kain series. I think that's pretty cool. I'm a big Legacy of Kain fan. Those games are really awesome. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that stood out. I think if you were, I mean, the Resident Evil game, the new one that's coming out soon in March, looks pretty cool. I don't know if I'm able to play Resident Evil games anymore. I tried playing Resident Evil 2 remake, and I think I got fairly far into it. I got to the point where I think maybe just past the point where what's his name? That big guy. He starts following you around the police station. I really did not like that section. That section was like stress. I really don't like the sensation of like something following you and like trying to catch you, like, and it's just like persistent for long periods of time. And it seems like they really like to do that. Yeah, it seems like in the Resident Evil games now, there's always like a section where you will have like one big monster like following you around for a while. I don't remember that being like in Resident Evil 4. I played Resident Evil 4, 5, 6. I don't remember that being like a thing, like where there's like one big monster that's just like tailing you through a whole like section of the game. And it is really freaky. I will give them that. But yeah, I think I'll probably just watch somebody play it instead of playing it myself. I am, however, interested in what the MH Wild expansion will be. Me too. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't think they did that as a state of play, but the state of play was more so like, I think if you were a Metal Gear Solid fan, the state of play would have been a big deal for you. If you were like, I mean, Pragmata is another game. Like if you're maybe also like Kojima or Konami fan, the state of play would have been a big deal. But I don't really follow those games. But yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds expansion, definitely excited for. Monster Hunter Stories comes out in March as well. Excited for that one. What else? There's a new creature collector game coming out soon as well. It's called Animo, I think. To me, it looks like a better Pal World. In RE6 there wasn't, from what I remember. Yeah, I don't remember. And RE6 was also multiplayer, so I had me and my friend went through that game. Um, RE5 and RE6 were multiplayer, so maybe that kind of cut down on the spookiness. It was definitely more like action oriented, I think. Um, so maybe that helped. I don't think this new one's gonna be multiplayer though. Yeah, although it probably could be adapted that way because they have Leon and they have that female character. I don't remember her name. Um, maybe it could be a co-op thing. Yeah, I'm too much of a chicken these days to play those games. But yeah, I was talking about the Animo game. It's basically Pokemon, right? But like, I think for a long time people who play Pokemon have wanted the ability to like kind of control the Pokemon character and like do commands for actions that way. In this game, you actually are able to do that. Like you can kind of inhabit your monster character and you can go through combat that way. It's more action oriented too. So I think that game could be fun, depending on how cool the little monsters look. There was I do have some interest in Turok, but I'm still like on the fence about it. I don't know much about it. I remember seeing the older Turok games when I was growing up, but I never played one. Seems like I should have. Like, seems like it was a game that was right up my alley, but I didn't. I never played them. But this game does not look like any of the Turok games that I saw before. It's very like futuristic. Like the guy's got like some kind of weird alien armor on. It kind of reminds me of Warframe, like biomechanical stuff. Yeah, that's true. I'm thinking more of RE6 though. But just because there's two characters doesn't mean they have to have co-op. And I don't think co-op has ever been the main seller of a art Resident Evil game anyway, so it makes sense. But yeah, looks like we're not gonna get any news on the new Monster Hunter Master Rank stuff until summer, which is not that far away, but it's also far away. I would really like something Monster Hunter related to look forward to. because it just took. I mean, I really like Monster Hunter Wilds now. But when the game first came out, I was a little bit I don't know, disappointed is not the word. Like I think it was still a good game. I just disagreed with some of the like structure that it had. Like I didn't enjoy playing through the like low rank. Usually low rank is like, it's not like the highlight of a Monster Hunter game, right? But I do enjoy playing through it, just because you're starting to get to know the monsters. You're like getting familiar with all the new stuff. But in the older Monster Hunter games, it was more like set kind of at your own pace. Like if you wanted to rush through low rank, you could, but you could also like spend a lot of time like making the armors and getting resources and doing side missions and stuff like that. You could kind of take it at your own leisure. But Wilds, I think, kind of put you on rails and kind of dragged you through it. I didn't really like that. I don't like being on rails. So I hope with the Master Rank stuff that they kind of rethink the way they structure their story stuff. I don't think many people liked that about Wilds. It seems like Capcom does like to listen to their community though, which is a good thing. So hopefully they address that. The part of the game where I really started having fun is when high rank started. There's that mission where you have to hunt all the young cuckoo. There's like a bunch of them that you have to hunt in the forest, and it just feels like the game finally kind of opens up and lets you kind of do your own thing. You can kind of hunt whatever you want, and then once you hit certain thresholds, it'll activate a next mission, and then you kind of go through it that way. I much prefer that structure to like, hey, like follow me to this place and then kill this thing and then follow me over here and then kill that thing. Like I don't really like that stuff. Almost 6 months of wait, yeah. I'm hoping we have a lot more elder dragons in this one. Because we only have like, what is it, 3? Zoshia. Maybe it's just 2. It's Zoshia and Gagmazios? Yeah, I think those are the only 2 elder dragons in Wilds. Oh no. ZBrush has always had this like little glitch where periodically your like cursor will fly off the model and it'll leave that kind of diagonal mark in the mesh with whatever sculpting tool you're using. It's had it since I've used it, and it's not just me. There's a lot of artists deal with it as well, but I have no idea why it does that. It seems like they would have gotten rid of it by now since it's been like over 10 years, but it's still there. How much of these fine details will actually be visible in game? Well, I'm hoping all of them. Depends on the texture resolution that we have, but my goal would be to have all of them be visible. The other thing too is like I'd rather invest time and put all the details I need in here. That way they're there, instead of like baking out maps and then checking it in game and realizing that we don't have enough, and then having to come back and like rebake textures and all that stuff. Like I want ample information in the mesh. That way I don't really have to worry about all that stuff later on. I'd rather have more than not enough. To be honest, like I don't really know what the plans are for mobile or console. So I wouldn't know like what the process is for preparing the textures or any of that for those systems. I suppose we'll like kind of cross that bridge if and when we come to it. But I think everything we're doing now is catered to PC stuff. I think though, as long as we have like all of the information we need from like the high poly, and you can always reduce, right, or like compress things, and then you can find ways to make that look good. But it doesn't necessarily work the other way around, you know, like upscaling things, or maybe with like these AI upscalers that might work. But I don't know much about that kind of thing. Do you lots of people play these types of games on mobile? Like, is that like a pretty what's it called? Like, how many survival games are playable on mobile? Like, is that fairly common? I'm wondering that, because like, I mean, not to say that it's not a viable thing to do or anything, but I just am not like a mobile game player, so I don't know anything about like what's popular on mobile, or like how many like PC games are actually ported over to mobile games, I guess, converted to mobile games. It might be interesting to try. I haven't tried playing like Path of Titans or anything like that on mobile. My instinct though is that I would probably not like it very much. Probably it's just more like tactile, like, yeah, because I'm imagining the controls are on the screen, right? So you're like using the touch screen to move around and do commands. I feel like that I wouldn't really like that. I guess you can always get like little controller attachments for your phone too, though. I had a friend who was telling me about that kind of thing. Like a little like it basically converts your phone into like a controller, like a console controller, if you wanted to play mobile games that way. I think I would have to do that if I played any mobile games. I avoid ported games except Elden Ring, and only game I played that is ported to PC from console. The controls are usually very wonky. Oh, okay. What do you play Elden Ring on? Oh, that's the only game you played that was ported to PC from. I gotcha. I got what you mean. Okay. But yeah, I think as far as like detail level, most if not all of what I've been sculpting into the meshes has been able to show up in game. Like I was looking at the Peru and the Eocarcharia and stuff. Pretty much everything shows up pretty well. I think the Peru looks really nice. Especially like I was seeing some screenshots of it in game, and just the way the lighting catches like all the little high points on the skin. It looks I think it looks pretty cool. I'm pretty pleased with the way I don't say that often. Like I'm pretty hard, like I was saying earlier in the stream, I'm pretty hard on myself as far as that kind of stuff goes. But I was pleasantly surprised. I thought that we might need to go back and rework some areas because I was worried that there was like too like it wouldn't be contrasty enough in the maps. But it looks really good. So I'm hoping that the Tropeo looks just as good. I want to, you know, I'm trying to constantly like elevate things. So in theory, right, the newest model should benefit from the lessons of the older models and should keep getting better and better. So that's my goal. So there's definitely some stuff that I've learned from the Purusaurus that I'm bringing to over here to the Tropeo. Mostly like texture stuff. Like once we get into the texturing phase, I feel like that's going to go much more smoothly. Texturing and growth, texturing and growth stages, I feel like are going to go much more smoothly for this. Because we did have to do a little bit of back and forth on the Peru. Not a big deal, but we did have to do some. Furious and I were trying to figure some stuff out for that one. That later got applied to the Eocarcharia and the Orano. But now that we figured it out, we just can we can just go. We don't worry about testing it or anything like that, trying stuff out. We can just apply it. Okay, that there's a few little areas that I need to come back to. But I kind of want to see what it looks like. Let me save it, and just in case it tries to blow up. How does it work making the model reflect light in the game? It's just a matter of the maps that we use. Like the majority of that stuff comes from the normal map and the specular, like the roughness map. And they're basically images that the normal map tells the computer basically like what direction the details on the surface are facing. So it lets the computer know what details should be catching light and what details shouldn't. So like if you have a sphere and the light's coming this way, the normal map tells this computer like, okay, this little ridge here is facing the light, or this little ridge here is away from the light. And then the computer can display that, right? And then when you add the other maps like the roughness map onto it, that specifically tells the computer like what parts of the mesh are dull, like matte surface, and what parts are shiny. So you get the little like reflective parts of it, right? And when you can start combining all those maps together, you can create some really realistic looking stuff. But it is essentially an illusion, right? Like it's a bunch of 2D images that are like tricking your eye into thinking it's like detailed and surface, you know, it's got all these crazy things going on the surface, when really it's just a flat object. So it's a pretty wild, like, that's what's kind of fascinating about games and like VFX and stuff. It's like how it's kind of tricking your brain into thinking there's detail and dimension and all that stuff, when in reality, like what's in the computer is actually not that detailed. Delta, been a while. Hope all has been going well. Hey Delta, yeah, been going well. Detailing a bunch of stuff on the Tropeo right now. I'm about to just check in on the whole mesh and see how it looks. So you kind of came in at a good time. So we've been working on all these little scales here on the feet. And then this is how the whole Tropeo looks. So we got him up in kind of several sections. And his mouth is closed right now, but so it's getting pretty close. I think the thing now is, honestly, the feet look way more detailed than the body. The thing is though, like the body is going to be covered by fur, majority of it. But I do think that I might want to do like another little pass of like wrinkles or something, just to like match what's going on here. I also need to do a little bit more transition, so you see how this area here on the ankle is about where the feathers will like end. Like you'll have the little fuzz right here on the ankle, and then it'll transition to the scales. So this area probably won't be seen too much, but I don't know. I kind of don't like doing that kind of thing, like how do I describe it? Like just because it might not be seen doesn't mean it's not worth putting detail in there just in case, you know, like you never know. Like maybe one day we, you know, Echoes of Extinction does like I don't know, like a retro dinosaur skin pack or something, and then we don't want to have feathers on the Tropeo. You know, we want it to look like an old school pterosaur from like Jurassic Park or something. Then in that case, we need detail on these areas that we didn't have detail on before. There's also probably instances where people can maybe see like underneath the fur. So you want something to be there. You don't want it to be like completely barren. So I'm trying to think of stuff like that. That way we're not like kind of falling short, I guess is the word would be. So we'll do a little bit of blending here. I might need to subdivide the model more. I like how uneven and pitted scarred the crests are. Looks like he stole someone else's feet for gloves. Yeah, they had to. I had to separate them. That way, I could detail them higher. When we bake all the maps, what might help is this thing, the subtool dimming. It still catches the little edge there, but anyway, when we bake all the maps, that seam will disappear. Should disappear. Oh, there's one alpha that I kind of forgot to add in here. At least I think I did. I don't think I ever dragged it dragged it out on the wings. That is really nice. I think it's this one. This leathery skin alpha. This should help me a little bit. I need to turn on backface masking. We need to set it to drag. That's too strong. Yeah, that's... I gotta dial it in and get just the right like depth for it. But this really makes it feel kind of like that bat wing sort of texture. It wouldn't be exactly like bat wings. It's probably much thicker skin than a bat wing, but visually kind of the same effect, right? I just have to be kind of consistent with it and careful. And it really helps that the larger like detail is there because it helps break up the like sameness of it. Otherwise, it would look very repeated. Yeah, that's that's like that little stuff in there is what I really that's the kind of stuff that like in game um that's the kind of stuff that'll catch the light, especially like say it rains or something, and the Tropeo's wings get wet, or maybe it's like dove into the water or something, and it pops out and it's kind of wet looking. Those little bumps and stuff on the wings are gonna look really nice. Autosave. Something that I need to do that I've been thinking about lately. So I've been trying to get like my art station and like Blue Sky, Twitter, basically all my social media and like art gallery stuff online, trying to update it and just keep it kind of rolling, right? One thing, well, a couple things I still haven't done. I need to make some nice images of the models I've done for Echoes and get them up on my portfolio site. I have not done that. Because that's like 3 models already that I have I have not updated anywhere. I do fall behind on stuff like that. Like there's some illustrations and models and stuff that I've had finished for like months and months and months that I have not done any renders of or like posted anywhere really. It's kind of hard to keep up. I mean, for me at least, it's kind of hard to keep up with stuff like that. Because that's like the very last thing I think about is like, because I'm thinking about so much stuff just to get the model done or like the illustration done. Like the last thing I'm thinking about is like, oh, I need to make this look pretty for social media, you know. And like social media, like doing little renders for like that type of stuff actually takes a lot of time, at least for me. Maybe there's people out there who can just whip up a presentation together and get it going. But for me, I feel like it takes a lot of time because I do want to like make sure that it looks good, right? Presentation is I think is pretty important. So making sure that everything looks presentable, looks cool. Yeah, so I think that's working. It's like a nice little detail layer on top of everything. Tazy, oh, I'm so late. Oh, no worries. Thanks for coming in, though. We still have a bit to go. I think what we are going to do, speaking of like all these like little details and stuff, I am going to prep. I'm essentially going to prep 2 versions of the Tropeo. One of them is going to be talking about like the fur, like the fuzz. One of them is going to have like more sculpted fur. So that version will need I'll need to like do all the sculpted fur on the surface here. And then the other method is just going to rely mostly on like cards. Because Furious and I are going to try out some different methods for getting the fur to look good in game. So I am going to have to do that, like fur pass on here. It'll be a lot of like this kind of stuff where like I'm like dragging out the I'll probably have to make a bunch of different like VDMs, alphas, and stuff like that. And then we'll be modifying this and see how it looks. So we're trying to find a way that a way to do fur that looks good but is also performant in game. That doesn't like bog down people's systems just to like render some fuzz on a dinosaur. This brush is like, I don't work with it enough. I need to like, because it seems to do much better when when you move fast with it. Like if I do like a very quick stroke like this, it tends to look better. If I slow the stroke down, it gets too intense. I gotta get used to how it works on the mesh. It's like one of the only brushes that I have that's like kind of speed dependent, I guess. That one's like knocking back the detail too much. What do I want? What am I looking for? Yeah, I want some sort of little kind of randomness to the surface. This could be like little flecks of dry skin or just little imperfections. just to break up the skin a little bit so it doesn't look so repetitive. Especially in areas that are like sort of thinner skin, like more like tougher skin. I would imagine that like the skin on the wings here, like this area, like the leading edge of the wing would need to have some fairly tough skin on it. Mr. Brownie, will Tropeo be playable at release? You know, I don't know. I don't know what's planned for like the list of dinos that should be playable at release. So I don't think I'd be the best source for that info. There you go. Foxy's got it. Fox. Sorry, not Foxy. I thought for some reason I read your name. I thought I inserted some extra letters in your name. Tropeo is 4th on the list, so it should be included. Tropeo is 4th. What is the 5th one? Fox. Oh, Packy, okay. That makes sense. Let's remember. I want to remember what he looks like with his mouth open really quick. Oh, that's right. We added the tooth, and we have to include it in the rotation. So he's got like a missing tooth up there. So let me rotate this down. I got to get my rotation point. There we go. Somewhere around there. We'll get it more accurate later, but that is... So this is with the revisions. So before we had to make a little bit of changes to accommodate make sure the teeth lock properly. So now with those changes, that's what he looks like. I think it looks pretty cool. I feel like maybe it could be just due to lighting, but for some reason the intensity of the details on the lower, this is the kind of thing I go through in my head, by the way, like this is my self-critique, but for some reason the details on the lower crest here feel like more intense than the details on the top. Maybe it could be lighting. It might be just lighting, the way that the matte cap is highlighting stuff. Because if I flip it over like this, it looks better. So I'm gonna say it's mostly just lighting. It could use a little bit of intensity though. I think I could probably do a couple little tricks to intensify the detail there. Blue Nons, thank you. Yeah, I think you could use a little bit more detail there, or like intensifying. I can just like exaggerate some of the stuff that's going on here. I don't need to like do another detail pass. Yeah, he's getting real close. Getting real close to like, I like this part of it is almost done. I'll see what we do next time. There's a little bit of detail to clean up, and kind of I gotta do some more details on the wing membranes on the bottom now that because I spent time today doing all this stuff in here, so I gotta make sure I do it at the bottom too. Yeah, I have to think about what we do next stream. I'm not exactly sure, but we'll see come Wednesday. Anyway, that is pretty much, we're at the end of the stream. At this point we're at time. Yeah, I'll be on again on Wednesday. For those of you who are interested, I have started up my weekly live stream for my creature design stuff. I have started working on a new model for the past couple of weeks, and I'm going to be continuing to work on that. So if you guys want to join me on Monday at 6 p.m., I'll be working on some creature design stuff. This is not Echoes related. It's just personal art stuff. So you're welcome to come hang out. Otherwise, I'll see you on Wednesday. Have a good weekend, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.